I'm telling you, the sun lighting up this area is special, because in an hour or two that sun will be up in its normal orientation for the day, and we'll lose this glow that's making the snow sparkle. I don't know if the diamonds are coming through, but it's that diamond snow effect where every sparkle of the snow is lighting up because of the sideways shards of light, and it's pretty freaking gorgeous, dude. I'm digging this. So I want to capture this as much as possible. I'm almost focusing more on the sun lighting up the trail than I am our friend Mount Hood. I don't know who to focus on more, the mountain or the sun, but both unbelievably gorgeous. Look at this. Look at this. I'm gonna interest you in an Alpine Wonderland, my friend. This is majestic. The sun lighting up this Wonderland zone. And now we're back to another flat section. Really, the handful of hillsides are really the worst areas as far as thickness of the snow, where you're at the stretch limits of the yak tracks, but still not too bad as far as post holing. Yak tracks are definitely the way to go for this trail. I would not do snowshoes, my humble opinion, my friend, but you do you. Oh, look at this. Look at this. A majestic Wonderland. I have done this once before. As I said, it was 3.5 years ago, June of 22. Now it's January 26, so I do remember the trail. I do feel like we are making good time and good progress. I'm not saying we're imminently about to get to the log cabin A-frame shelter, because that's still a bit, but we are making good progress. We look back, look at the fog. Oh, look at that. You got an ethereal fog effect behind us and the rolling mountains and hills on the other side of this trail. And then you look up and you see majestic, mighty Mount Hood in all its alpine wonder and glory. The bright white pop marshmallow madness that is Mount Hood, majestic and mighty. Think of any other words with M in it. This is absolutely amazing. There's another M. Oh man. Another one of these steep ascensions with the sun lighting it up as we walk across the diamonds. Very beautiful. Once we get up here to the right, then we'll kind of level out a little bit. Have more of a flat, straight shot to the mountain. So there's our mountain, kind of obstructed by some burnout, but once we come around here to the corner to the right, I think we'll get a more direct shot. Mount Hood. So I ascend this section, I focus more on the sun and the sky and the glisten on the snow. Oh, look back. I mean, look at this. This is ridiculous. You see the clouds in the fog? Like, this is really beautiful. This is a majestic Wonderland zone. This is what I was hoping for, frankly. Tilly Jane is not disappointing in real time. Tilly Jane is legend and epic. We're coming up here. We're gonna straighten out here. Just a straight shot of the mountain. Look at that. Look at that. Beautiful sun. And here we are, straightening out. And we just got a direct approach money shot of Mount Hood for a bit. Looks like a few tenths, perhaps. Look back over at the sun. Majestic and mighty, glistening shards of light. We got Mount Hood right here. This is crazy. Can I interest you in a winter wonderland, my friend? If you cannot tell, I am a fan. Darn it, I am a super fan of Mount Hood National Forest. Our close trusty friend, Mount Hood, tallest mountain in the great state of Oregon, 11,249 feet. And we got this light. Look back again. Tilly Jane Trail, sending through our burnout zone. The sun to our left, fighting some dark gray ominous clouds. There is potentially some rain later in the day forecast. I am cognizant of that. One of the reasons why I started early. I like to be able to do this hike, either at least be on the way down or all the way back before it starts raining. Really, the only sketchy part of the drive is a couple miles down this cloud cap road. Once you get to the main highway, you're golden all the way back to Central Oregon, where I live in Madras. So I feel like conditions are good, safe and clear. Oh, beautiful this is. Look at the beauty. Almost got a sepia effect. Like this brush, this mountainside is like a sepia brown. I do not mess with the colors on my videos, so this isn't like me trying to make an effect. Like here in person, in reality, feels like I'm walking through a sepia painting. It's like a weird brownish golden color, and then all the white. It's like a two-tone situation. And I think the light, the sun from the left is playing a role in that, obviously. So if you're given sepia vibes through this section, that is not an effect that I have edited. That is just reality, my friends. As I said, other than putting in the color input recommended for my device, I don't really mess with the colors at all. Just maximum saturate everything. But I don't like go in and change the reds, the blues, and the greens. I don't really do anything like that. Just leave it as it is. This is majestic. This is beauty. Oh, look at that. That is majestic. A lot of times the sun and the clouds and the light ends up being the most beautiful part of a hiking video. I've definitely learned and experienced through the hundreds of times I've done this. So I am focusing on that because that is special. Like, you cannot replicate that. Every day you have a different sunrise, sunset, and you get just a different alignment with the clouds and the light and the gray and the blue and the white and the shards and the way the light hits the mountainside ever so. Different levels of snow and ice, and just, it's always different. It's unique every day. You capture that. Oftentimes, if I go back and happen to watch one of my old videos, some of the things I remember most fondly are just a certain alignment of sunlight hitting an area a certain way, that you just get lucky that you stumble upon the area at that right exact time and feel special. So that's what this is. I'm getting that vibe in real time. So we look back on our area and really enjoying Tilly Jane. Can't get over how beautiful the sun is. Clouds moving so fast beneath it. And then you look back at Tilly Jane Trail, sepia brown hillside. As we continue to ascend towards Mount Hood. We are ascending. Beautiful mountainside. Well, hello there, morning sunshine. Thank you for lighting up the path, lighting our way as we ascend up this little steep section. Oh, look at the beauty of the sun lighting up our mountainside. Very comfortable temperature. According to my Jeep Wagoneer, it was 35 degrees when I got here. So cold enough that it's got some bite, but not so cold that it feels like soul crushing. And it's got a pretty good wind. I think the wind has it in the high 20s wind chill, which to me is like a sweet spot. I'm Norwegian by heritage, proud American, but Norwegian by heritage. So perhaps this kind of stuff's just in my blood, but this is a very comfortable temperature. I'm not sweating, but I'm not hot, I'm not cold. In the Goldilocks zone of temperature management. And I am digging this. I will say, I don't have any sponsorships or endorsements. A very small, humble channel. I am a gear nerd, so I've gotten into Stio a little bit, which has got a store in Bend in Central Oregon area. This is up in Mount Hood, but I live in Central Oregon. So big fan of the Power Stretch Glide pants, which I'm wearing, and the Power Stretch gloves. So I'm wearing these gloves. Power Stretch keep my hands warm, yet they have that touch feature, so I can still handle my phone, shoot a video. So these are my new gloves of choice, the Stio Power Stretch Glide gloves, and they match my pants. So what's not to love about that? So I'm digging it. I bought the black, the blue, and the gray, all three. So I got my pants and my matching gloves. I'm that kind of a dork, so but it feels good. So moving forward, I'm always gonna wear these gloves. I feel like I've upgraded my kit. And speaking of majestic, we got the money shot of mighty, amazing, majestic Mount Hood straight ahead. Look at that. That's a little candle soup for your soul right there, my friend. Can I interest you in Alpine Wonderland? that is special. So if you feel the Wanderlust, if you just feel a beckoning, a yearning to come out to the mountains, I think Tilly Jane Trail to the A-frame log cabin shelter, and even beyond to Cloud Cap Inn, maybe even Cooper Spur Shelter, will definitely scratch that Wanderlust itch. Because look at this. I mean, this is pure magic. Like straight money shot to Mount Hood, tallest mountain in the great state of Oregon. This is awesome. Look at this. I'm digging this, my friend. Here's the Tilly Jane Trail we just came from. Still have the beautiful sun lighting up our mountainside. We are still approaching Mount Hood proper as I post hole. We are approaching the A-frame log cabin shelter of Tilly Jane, and the mountain is giving us a come hither vibe, beckoning us forward. The sun lighting up majestic Mount Hood National Forest. We got the mighty Mount Hood over there, tallest mountain in the great state of Oregon, all its majestic wonder, the money shot. We pan back, show you Tilly Jane Trail we are ascending up. We just came up this little section right here, pretty steep zone, and we traversed the left side of that mogul, and you got some ominous clouds and mist going through the mountains here. It is very windy. It is very gorgeous. Oh man, look at how beautiful this is. We got mighty, majestic money shots of Mount Hood straight ahead, tallest mountain in the great state of Oregon. We are on the final approach to the Tilly Jane A-frame log cabin shelter. Last couple tenths, and we will be at the shelter. Oh, this is beautiful. It's a really beautiful laser light show display. The sun and these dark gray ominous clouds. We're getting periodic windstorms. Had some periods of rain. This is a dynamic, inclement weather environment. Genuine winter wilderness adventuring. You never know what you're gonna get, but that light is spectacular. Look back at these ominous clouds. This is a really beautiful area as I continue to post hold my Yak Track summit on this thick, fluffy snow. Oh, look at this. This is special. The beautiful Tilly Jane A-frame log cabin shelter. You got the sign here. You got the shelter. You even have the sun up there, peeking over the Mount Hood National Forest old growth trees. This, my friend, absolutely beautiful. When I interest you in a winter wonderland, I'm standing outside the rustic and hardy A-frame Tilly Jane log cabin shelter here in Mount Hood National Forest, Oregon. And look at how awesome this is. I gotta say, I think this is one of the highest quality winter hikes in the entire Mount Hood National Forest area. 5 miles, 1,900 foot elevation gain. You too can come up here to Tilly Jane A-frame log cabin shelter, hang out, go inside if it's open, hang out at the picnic tables, and really enjoy one of the wonders of the Timberline Loop area, the Tilly Jane A-frame log cabin shelter. This, my friend, absolutely beautiful. So we just descended from the Tilly Jane Trail. There is our Tilly Jane A-frame sign. And I'd like to welcome you to the beautiful Tilly Jane A-frame log cabin shelter, rustic and hardy. Let's walk in. So I've already opened the gate here, and I've also opened the door. If you're the last one to leave, make sure you lock both these. There happened to be nobody here, so I thought I'd give you a quick little tour. Very beautiful on the inside. Step in, and you got a couple of picnic tables, a couple benches around this little hearth. Benches all the way around. Do have some supplies. I would say contribute, but don't ever take anything, obviously. Has a communal feel. I mean, look, people have left Alpine apple cider, which happens to be my favorite. Next time I hike up here, I'll bring an extra box and add to the stockpile. Oh man, this is beautiful. That side is permanently locked, so you don't go out there. And look at this, you got the stairs up to presumably the sleeping area. Oh man, this is really beautiful. It's neat to see the inside. I never actually seen the inside of Tilly Jane A-frame log cabin shelter. So here is the upstairs part of Tilly Jane A-frame log cabin shelter. Assumably this is the sleeping area. You bring your sleeping bag up here with a pillow, pick a little corner, sleep up here. A lot of good flat space. Got a room with a view. You got a window view out there of Mount Hood National Forest and a bench. And to get up here, just gotta walk up these stairs. Not too hard, pretty safe. Just grab the railing and come up here and sleep at Tilly Jane A-frame log cabin shelter. This is beautiful. So here is your stairs up to your sleeping area. Just make sure you hold onto the railings. It's pretty darn safe. Now walk around here. You got one rustic picnic table, two rustic picnic tables, a bench right there, 3 benches around the stove, another bench on the other side. Definitely a communal environment, room for a lot of people. And I gotta say, $20 a night's a pretty darn good deal. As we leave the Tilly Jane A-frame log cabin shelter area, let's continue along this way. So now we need to assess if the trail is clear to go to Cloud Cap Inn. If we just stopped at Tilly Jane and turn around, it'd be 5 miles, 1,900 foot elevation gain. If we extend it to Cloud Cap Inn, it's 7.2 miles, so we add 2.2 miles, but we only add 200 feet elevation gain. It goes from 1,900 feet to 2,100 feet. So 2.2 miles, but only 200 feet elevation gain. That's a pretty flat hike. So now the only question is this connecting segment to Cloud Cap Saddle Campground and ultimately Cloud Cap Inn, is this obstructed with snow, or is it clear for a yaks tracker like myself? If it's clear, I'm gonna go to Cloud Cap Inn, might as well capture that as well. If it's, you know, massive thick snowbanks, then I will reach the end of the line, have to turn around, have no choice. To the right is Tilly Jane Creek, which we will cross. Here it says Tilly Jane Area and Campground. Very beautiful zone. Bit of a steep cliff there. I wouldn't get too close personally, especially with yak tracks on. So I'm just gonna stay over here. Better safe than sorry. Tilly Jane area contains incredible terrain, beautiful views, and several historic buildings. Tilly Jane Creek was named after the wife of Wesley Ladd, and the name has been extended to the campground and general area. Very sweet. So this is our direction. There's a little amphitheater here on the left. And then we will see if we can make it all the way over to Cloud Cap Inn or not. Ooh, look at Mount Hood straight ahead. I'm gonna bury the lead. I mean, we have a bit of overcast, so it blends in with the white sky, but still, that is mountain straight ahead, my friend. That is beautiful. We've got a little amphitheater here on the left. Very cool. The rumors are that sometimes squirrels will have Shakespearean plays here when the humans aren't around, but it's not something we ever get to be part of. And we will check out this little zone. Amphitheater, awesome. I gotta say, I love it when they have these little infrastructure treats. Like, look at this. This is cool. Obviously, half of it's covered in snow, but you can see this half. Very beautiful. So here's a sign that says American Legion Camp. There's a beautiful sun. Now that's a sight. Look at that sun lighting up beautiful Mount Hood National Forest. So far, not so bad. We are now hiking by Tilly Jane Creek. Very beautiful, very picturesque, very pristine, serene, clean, pristine Tilly Jane. Doesn't rhyme, but it's still beautiful. Look at that, that is cool. Look at that pristine water. Care for a dip? Care for an ice cold dip? Probably not, but it's still very beautiful. It's like ice water. Same thing I have running through my veins. Here's a little bridge, snow on it. You can walk across it. Very cool. Here's our beautiful little Tilly Jane Creek. That is cool. I love that. It's beautiful. Very pristine little creek, my friend. Here's our snow crossing. And we did it as if it was in doubt. Look back down at Tilly Jane Creek and all its raging goodness. Look up at Tilly Jane Creek. Beautiful, epic, awesome, clean, pristine, serene Tilly Jane Creek. There's the bridge we just crossed. Let's continue on this way. So it's essentially 1.1 miles this way and only about 200 foot elevation gain. So why not, right? Go get the full Monty experience. We go 1.1 miles this way, 200 feet elevation gain. We're at Cloud Cap Inn. We'll go by Cloud Cap Saddle Campground, then Cloud Cap Inn, 1.1 miles back. And it will have been a 7.2 mile, 2,100 foot elevation gain hike. I will still look at Timberline Trail and consider the Cooper Spur scenario, but I'm concerned about the weather at this point. I'm worried the worm is turning and I don't want to get myself in a situation. See what these signs say. Tilly Jane Trail, Timberline Trail. Here's our Tilly Jane guard station. So if you go at recreation.gov, $200, you can rent the Tilly Jane guard station, like your own private cabin group experience. Very cool. This is a beautiful area. I could see that being fun. I could see that being real fun, actually. You get a group of people together. Y'all come up here, yak tracks or snowshoe, whatever. You take over this area and have yourself a party. So you got a lot of infrastructure here. Granted, it's snow covered. Probably not very convenient to try to have your lunch there at the picnic table, but actually it can be kind of fun when it's this thick of snow. And we will continue along this way. So there is your Tilly Jane guard station, $200 a night. Perfect for a group situation. You get a big group together, divide the cost among several people. Kind of a fun way to come enjoy Mount Hood National Forest. I'd highly recommend it. If you can get a big group together, divide the cost, then that is actually a really good value proposition in my humble opinion. And we continue along this way. Thank you, Blue Diamonds, for charting the way. I can see the foot traffic and I can see the Blue Diamonds. Between the two, I know which way to go. Okay, so very cool. You see those brown signs down there. That is Tilly Jane Campground. First come, first served summer style campground. I believe there's about 14 sites. Come up here in summer, and this is a premium camping zone. Gateway to Timberline Loop, Cooper Spur Shelter area. And not really a place you can camp during winter, but kind of cool, right next to the Tilly Jane guard station. Hey, look, my friends, what I spy over there, that is the Cloud Cap Inn across the way. See that perched on the other side of this burnout zone. So we got the Cloud Cap Inn over there. So this right here is one of the sketchier little sections. This is connector over to Cloud Cap Saddle Campground. It's steep and narrow. Just gonna film for a second. I'm gonna put my phone away because I gotta focus on my fancy footwork, not be jabbering and trip. But this is one of the tougher sections. It's doable. You can see the trail goes to the left there. I think it goes over that log over there. I don't know where it goes, but it's going to connect over there and then ultimately down over there. Got a particularly beautiful little forest section here. Here's another little section of Tilly Jane Creek, I do believe. And look at that. We will cross it right here. Assuming there's a log or something that I'm walking over. I can't see, it's too thick of snow, but obviously looks safe. So we just crossed right there and walk back over here a couple steps, just give you this money shot of the forest. That is beautiful. So this is the way we're hiking. We're getting close to Cloud Cap Saddle Campground, and then we will get over to Cloud Cap Inn. I saw Cloud Cap Inn from the ridge behind me, across this burnout chasm. So we're getting close. We've made visual contact. No, it is not a fever dream hallucination. It is not a mirage. We are a couple tenths away. So we will ascend up this little section. I feel like Tilly Jane A-frame log cabin shelter is definitely one of the main draws, especially with it being open. You can walk in and sit and have a snack and chill and enjoy a rustic log cabin shelter. But if you've already gone that far, you've done the lion's share of the elevation gain, why not add a couple miles, come over to the Cloud Cap Inn? That's my logic. I'm a stacker, a bow-goer. Kind of random, you see a little rainbow there off in the mist. Call that rainbow in the mist. Very beautiful. The weather is turning. It is raining and overcast and foggy, and it's kind of a rain-sleet mix. And there's a random rainbow in the middle of the burnout here in Mount Hood National Forest. Very beautiful. We are deep in the old growth Mount Hood National Forest. Winter adventuring, wilderness trail, winter adventuring. We are in the zone between the Tilly Jane Guard Station and the Cloud Cap Saddle Campground. It is intermittently raining, getting a mist, some random fog, some random rainbows across the forest. Kind of an interesting eclectic mix. And I love these mossy tree sections, definitely set a vibe. And a little downhill right here. A lot of little downhill sections, you just gotta watch your footwork. Again, I'm in the Yak Track Summit, they work, but you just gotta be mindful. Don't do anything crazy. I gotta say, look at these mossy trees. This is gorgeous. This is quintessential old growth Mount Hood National Forest. I mean, this is ridiculous. Talking about setting a vibe. I mean, I could do a 360. Look at this. Look up here. This is magic, my friend. This is quintessential Mount Hood National Forest. If you wanted to know what Mount Hood National Forest is like, think of this green mossy tree section and you understand. Got a very ethereal vibe, my friend. Well, I do feel after some weird ups and downs, inclines and declines, that I am finally in that final approach to Cloud Cap Saddle Campground. I don't really feel like we're gonna be able to like see any of the sites in like a campground review sense. I'll have to come back in the summer to really do a proper campground review, but we'll get by that and then go on to Cloud Cap Inn, my friend. Ooh, I love these feature trees of interest. Look at that. That is beautiful, my friend. It's a post hole. Yep. This area is starting to look familiar to me. I have been here once before. Straight ahead, Cloud Cap Saddle Campground. I'm eager to get to Cloud Cap Inn, get a few money shots of our friend Hood, and turn around. The rain is increasing, the wind is increasing, the conditions are getting worse. I'm right in that no man's land where it's like I'm just a couple tenths away from my turnaround point, so I'd like to check the box. I also don't want to linger out here for hours unnecessarily, you know. Straight ahead, that is the restroom for Cloud Cap Saddle Campground. You see straight ahead, that is a picnic table, the other side of the road. So we are in the Cloud Cap Saddle Campground zone. We're right next to Cloud Cap Inn. Weird that the road doesn't have any snow on it. Must be some sort of material, because it doesn't make any sense, but I'm digging it. So this is interesting and wild. I'm up here at Cloud Cap Saddle Campground, and I don't know why. It must be some sort of tech, as it's starting to snow on me. The wind is hitting me hard as I For some reason, this road doesn't have any snow on it. You see, here's Cloud Cap Saddle Campground. There's the restroom. Here's Cloud Cap Saddle Campground. You can see picnic table. This is not a campground review. It is snowing, my friend. It is beautiful. It is epic. It is a winter wonderland. Look at the moss on those trees. You see the sign straight ahead there? That is to Timberline Loop if you're going to Cooper Spur Shelter. But the thing I'm trying to understand, why is there no snow on the road? It's cool. Maybe it's some sort of new finagling technology. But starting to snow. There's site 5 with your picnic table. This is not a winter snow destination. I'm going to continue to hike this way. I'm walking over to Cloud Cap Inn turnaround point for our 7.2 mile, 2,100 foot elevation gain hike from Tilly Jane Sno-Park, Tilly Jane Trail to Tilly Jane A-frame log cabin shelter to Tilly Jane guard station to Cloud Cap Saddle Campground to Cloud Cap Inn, which we are mere feet away from, and then I will turn around. In fact, speak of the devil, Cloud Cap Inn, coming up to it on our left here. Here is the beautiful Cloud Cap Inn in winter snow. Let me pan over and show you this beautiful national. If you ever wanted to see what Cloud Cap Inn looks like in winter snow, here you go. This is the beautiful Cloud Cap Inn, and we give you a panorama of Mount Hood National Forest. The warm is turning, my friends. The storm is moving in. It is getting cloudy, misty, snowy, rainy. You can see condensation coming down. I still have 3.6 miles to go back down to Tilly Jane Sno-Park. I will be hiking in the sleet, the snow, the rain, in my Yak Trek summit, all the way down. But feel well equipped, well appointed. I got food, I got drink, I got battery. I'm ready to go. This is my turnaround point, and I will be descending back down to Tilly Jane Sno-Park. This, my friend, beautiful. Time to turn around. As we leave the Cloud Cap Inn area, the fog has moved in. I'm approaching Cloud Cap Saddle Campground. I will hike back over to Tilly Jane guard station, Tilly Jane A-frame log cabin shelter, and descend back down to Tilly Jane Sno-Park, hop in my Jeep Wagoneer, and drive home. So 7.2 mile, 2,100 foot elevation gain hike. I've officially turned around. I'm now on the way back down. So I've done the 2,100 foot elevation. That was the asterisk in this hike, the hardest part. So this is definitely what they call a 2/3, 1/3 hike, meaning 2/3 of the time is the way up, 1/3 of the time is the way back down. I'm definitely over halfway by time, even though I'm halfway by distance, just because downhill is by nature faster than uphill. So right now I'm optimistic that the changing conditions is just going to make it prettier but not more dangerous. I still have my Yak Trek summit on, and the trail was clear on the way up, so I don't know what would be so different on the way down. Even if it got a little rainier and icier, I should be okay. So still optimistic, but we'll see. Hopefully not foolhardy. Time to tell. Again, going by Cloud Cap Saddle Campground. I did finally acquiesce and put up my hood. This is beautiful. Cloud Cap Saddle. Does anybody know why this road is completely clear? It must be something about this rock or material, like doesn't get cold. I don't know, man. It doesn't make sense to me. It's cool though. So we've officially made it to the threshold of Mount Hood Wilderness, Cloud Cap Saddle. Going beyond this marker is the threshold into beautiful Mount Hood Wilderness. We will not be going up to Cooper Spur Shelter today. We went to Cloud Cap Inn as our turnaround point, 7.2 miles, 2,100 foot elevation gain. Weather is turning, it is storming, it is raining, it is snowing, it is misting, and I'm going to go back to Tilly Jane. One last look back at the Cloud Cap Saddle Campground zone. Still don't understand why that road has no snow on it, but it's very cool. Tilly Jane, trail number 600A. For those of you keeping track at home, update your spreadsheet, your tracker. And I like how they have the number system. It never means anything to me, but I'm sure it's very interesting. Look at these mossy trees. Like, yeah, the snow's cool, but look at all that moss. Beautiful. So we are back on the Tilly Jane Trail, and we will be taking this circuitous path over a couple Tilly Jane Creek crossings back to the Tilly Jane Guard Station, Tilly Jane Campground, ultimately Tilly Jane A-Frame Log Cabin Shelter. Then we will be descending the mountainside back to Tilly Jane Sno-Park. So we did the out, we did the 2,100 foot elevation gain. Now we're doing the back. We're 3.6 miles away from our warm vehicle, but that doesn't mean that we're already over the hike. We're still enjoying the beauty, so hoping to get some good shots on the way back. There's our Tilly Jane Guard Station. There's our trail. So we're going to meander around a little Tilly Jane Creek crossing, hit the amphitheater, and then straight away back to Tilly Jane A-Frame Log Cabin Shelter. This isn't sketch, but I would stay away from the edge here. Sort of don't want to fall. Fortunately, I have my back trainer summit on, so I have full confidence in the fanciness of my footwork. Oh, I love Tilly Jane Creek. So pristine, serene, clean, immaculate. Dig it. Our little footbridge. Straight ahead. There's Tilly Jane Creek. Tilly Jane Creek footbridge. I would stay in the center of it. You can see the rain sprinkling on Tilly Jane Creek. It is raining on me, has been for a while. Glad I have waterproof ski clothes on or I'd be in trouble. Happen to have a Bogner ski jacket, 20,000 K waterproof, 30,000 K breathable, 750 fill goose down. So got a premium ski jacket on, so I'm dry as a whistle on the inside. Got gloves, as I mentioned. Nice pants. So I'm well dressed. Not feeling the rain so far. Here's our amphitheater. The chipmunks had a performance going on, but they heard me coming and scattered. They're quite a Shakespearean troupe, the local chipmunks here at Tilly Jane. We're coming up to more signage. This is trail number 600A, amphitheater. Coming up to the Tilly Jane Campground sign on our right. Tilly Jane A-Frame will be on our right as well here in a couple minutes. So we'll be back onto the main Tilly Jane trail. So we are approaching our close trusty friend Tilly Jane A-frame log cabin shelter, currently empty. I can buy it on our way back down Tilly Jane Trail to Tilly Jane Sno-Park, where we launched our base camp, where our Jeep wagon here is, where warmth is, where heated seats, and reinforcements as far as drinks and snacks eagerly await us. Here's our Tilly Jane A-frame sign. I love Tilly Jane A-frame rustic log cabin shelter. Can't get enough of it. Absolutely beautiful, majestic, epic. Goodbye, Tilly Jane. We've enjoyed our visit. We've enjoyed our stay. I still love the Romeo and Juliet come hither balcony. Very cool. Remember, if you're the last one to lock the gate and the door, which I did, so I'm leaving. The area is secure, for the record. I close the door and I close the gate, and it is a secure facility as I leave. Nobody there. And time to descend, my friend. So I will give you the good news, because I'm a good news kind of guy. Oh my gosh, look at that rainbow. That's impressive. Because of all the rain, we're getting like some world-class rainbows. Beautiful. So we got an epic rainbow, and I will give you the good news as we look at the rainbow. So 7.2 mile, 2,100 foot elevation gain hike. We did the 2,100 foot elevation. That's the asterisk. That's the hardest part of this whole hike. That's done. This is all downhill, literally, not figuratively. Oh man, this is beautiful. Can I interest you in an incredible rainbow? We're here at Tilly Jane Trail, Mount Hood National Forest, Oregon. We just left the Tilly Jane A-frame shelter. We're on our way back down, descending from which we came back down to Tilly Jane Sno-Park. And because of all this inclement weather, the rain, the mist, the ethereal fog, the windstorms, the rainbow right there is a yield of the rain. You got the prominent one on the left. You actually have the makings of the spectrum of one on the right of this big tree. This is beautiful, my friend. Got a rainbow beckoning us to come hither. Welcome us as we hike back down Tilly Jane Trail back to Tilly Jane Sno-Park. Let's continue along. So we ended up doing the medium length version of this hike, which was to cloud cap in as our turnaround point, 7.2 miles, 2,100 feet elevation gain. Now the good news is, and I'm a optimistic glass half full kind of guy, we've done the 2,100 foot elevation gain, which is the asterisk difficult part of this hike. That is absolutely what makes this hike most difficult, is the 2,100 feet elevation. And we've done that all the way to cloud cap in, and we turn around and we've come back. So if you think about it, we did the 2.5 mile segment to Tilly Jane A-frame log cabin shelter. And then we did the 2.2 segment to cloud cap in and back to Tilly Jane log cabin shelter. So we've done 4.7 miles and we have 2.5 miles left. So we have a little over a third of the hike left and no elevation gain. So when you look at it that way, we're physically about almost two-thirds, that's a post hole. We're physically about 2/3 into the hike as far as distance. And we're like 95% done with the elevation gain. I'll give 5% just for the natural machinations of the forest trail. There's a few minor inclines, just part of the cost of doing business, hiking through a forest. It's not perfectly downhill, but that's pretty impressive. So we are definitely in mop-up mode. We're not taking our eyes off situational awareness. In fact, here's a pro tip for you. More people are likely to be injured going downhill because their legs get kind of rubbery. They lose their situational awareness. They're concentrating going uphill because it's harder. It's more physical exertion. And then they think they're just in mop-up mode going downhill, and as I said, their legs get rubbery, jello-y. They start thinking about what they're going to do next, and they stop paying attention. They lose track of their momentum, their inertia, and they turn an ankle. So on your way down, even though you don't have to have the same energy burn rate as you did going up, maintain your footwork, maintain your situational awareness, because you're actually in your most dangerous section as far as injury, rate of injury. So I'm descending down. Hey, look at this. So you have that side of the rainbow, and Then you have the full rainbow arch, and you even have that side of the rainbow. Nature's Croquet right here. I didn't bring my mallet or my ball, or I would hit it. Pretty cool. You got the full rainbow arch and both sides of the rainbow. Pretty darn epic. Let me stop here and show you. Look at that. Rainbow arch. Nature's Croquet. Very beautiful. BYO mallet. So we are descending through this winter wonderland that I was rambling about. Make sure you maintain your situational awareness. I'm actually always more afraid of losing momentum going downhill. For me, going downhill is actually harder than going uphill. I don't mind 3,000-4,000 feet elevation gain. When I'm going downhill and I feel like sometimes I'm losing my footing, especially if it's a gravel situation or whatever the mountain material happens to be, then that's actually when I feel like I'm most in danger of like slipping and falling. So I take going downhill very seriously. It's a heck of a lot easier than going uphill, but you still have to pay attention, is all I'm trying to say. Here's the way we're descending from. Here's our beautiful Burnout Basin, Tilly Jane area. As we continue along, it is raining, it is storming. We've had windstorms, we've had sleet, we've had snow, and now it's just sprinkling. Oh, this is beautiful. Let me stop and capture this rainbow again. Look at this. Pretty darn epic. You can see both sides. Do that one more time. I'm telling you, it's nature's croquet. If I had my mallet and my ball, I'd take a hit, but alas, I do not. One of the things I love about Tilly Jane Trail is being able to look down into this Burnout Basin. It's just beautiful. We still have the ethereal fog mist across the way that never burned off all day. It's now afternoon, and the ethereal fog mist never left this mountain zone. Kind of a special phenomenon. Normally the morning fog mist burns off later in the day, but not today, my friend. Not January 30th, 2026. It's just a foggy, misty, ethereal day, complete with beautiful rainbows where you can see both sides, defying physics. Could have sworn I always hear that you can never catch the other side of a rainbow. What a beautiful day, I gotta say. I would say do not be just a fair weather adventurer, a fair weather hiker. I know some people that, I'm not trying to throw shade, but they only go hiking when it's like a bluebird, blue sky day, and that's the only set of conditions they will even consider going on a hike. If there's any rain, if there's any snow, if there's any overcast, it's an automatic deal breaker. And different strokes, different folks, you do you, but I do not prescribe to that mentality, because frankly, I think a lot of the most beautiful hikes I've ever done have been in ethereal mist and fog and rain and snow, and I've hiked through a lot of storms, and I think it's, first of all, I think it's invigorating, it's exciting, it's good for the soul. Second of all, I think it's actually a lot of times more beautiful. There's something about the overcast light that makes everything in the foreground have higher contrast, which actually, in my opinion, makes it more beautiful. Sometimes you get what I call like a sun stain. Like if you got like bright sunshine and you try to shoot a video, there's just this light everywhere, and it actually a little off-putting in my opinion. I think it actually is less beautiful because you can't see anything because the sun's so glaringly bright. I actually don't like it. I'd much rather shoot a video in light like this. It's overcast with ethereal mist and fog, and you got good lighting. You can see every texture. I think it's actually far more beautiful than just like a blue sky, sun blaring down on you like a spotlight. That's not actually my favorite, to be honest with you. So maybe that's the Norwegian in me, lifelong Oregonian. And look at that. That's pretty legit, my friend. That is pretty legit. You got the rainbow. Got the rainbow in the mist. If I was trying to do a nature shot, I would call this the rainbow in the mist. The mist is actually moving so fast from left to right, you can see it. If I just stay here still in real time, you can see it moving from left to right, towards the rainbow. I just descended a steep little section of Tilly Jane Trail. And we got this ethereal mist coming in. It's actually coming in heavier straight ahead. I don't know what this is. Mist, fog, soup. It's beautiful, but it's definitely moving into this Mile Hood National Forest Canyon Basin. I am a fan of a good ethereal misty fog, so I'm digging it. It just completely swallowed the rainbow. We had a beautiful rainbow right straight ahead. No more. The fog, the rainbow went to battle and the fog was victorious. Now we are getting strong gray vibes. Don't know if this is a harbinger for some bad weather coming. Right directly above me right now is some blue sky. I just looked up. So I'm in my final 2 miles descending down from whence I came to Tilly Jane Sno-Park. So I've got a Jeep Wagoneer that's got the load leveling suspension, 5 levels. So I'll probably go up to the highest level, off-road, 1 or 2. Put it into snow 4-wheel drive. Go down the couple miles of cloud cap road until I get to the main highway. Pull over, go back down to normal height of the vehicle. Go to normal 4-wheel drive, and then I will drive home. It's nice to have a vehicle that's got that capability, so I have full confidence. I'm sure the conditions are fine, but if there's one section sketchy on the drive home, it's going to be this few miles of cloud cap road back to the main highway. So that I'm more than up for the task with my vehicle. And then I will go home. You know what one of the best parts of a successful winter adventure is? 7.2 miles, 2,100 foot elevation gain. It's going home and having bottomless cups of warm apple cider. I like the Alpine. I actually saw some Alpine apple cider up at Tilly Jane A-frame. Pretty cool. They had a box there, although they had the sugar type. I like the sugar-free type, so I probably wouldn't have had any at the Tilly Jane. I'm a sugar-free kind of guy, but got sugar-free at home, so I'm going to have bottomless apple cider all night. Get crazy. My sugar-free apple cider. That's what I call a party, my friend. Oh, look at this. Look at these clouds, this fog, this ethereal mist. Soupy magic. I am digging it. Don't know what the heck it is. You know, it's funny, if it was summer, I think there was a wildfire, but it's not summer and there's no wildfire. No, I guess it's just a ethereal, misty, cloudy fog. So I would say we finished the upper section of the exposed Burnout segment of Tilly Jane. So we got this Meandering Segment. We stopped and just panned back. So we just came down from there. That's kind of the upper part of the Burnout Zone. That is the final ascent to Tilly Jane A-frame log cabin shelter. We're now kind of in the mid section, the flatter section. Little respite because that was some pretty thick, gnarly snow, and yeah, track summit. Still don't regret my footwear traction device control decision because I was able to go up to cloud cap in without much energy exertion, and 7.2 miles, 2,100 foot elevation gain. So solid on the X tracks, but you're always cheating in one way or the other. I was definitely cheating towards having to post hole a bit, unfortunately. So that thicker exposed section is officially over, and that was kind of my albatross, my Achilles heel, no pun intended, of the whole hike. So that's good. Probably don't have any more post holing in front of me as bad as what was just behind me. Got through the worst post holing section. So now we're kind of in the mid burnout zone, Tilly Jane Trail. I call this the Sepia section on the way up, and it's not giving the sepia vibes on the way down. It's kind of dark and dreary, but still beautiful. We are now in the bottom section of the burnout zone, Tilly Jane Trail, about to re-enter the lower forest section that takes us back to the trailhead. Still have this ethereal gray misty fog blanketing this canyon basin. I'm digging it. It's giving a beautiful vibe. I'm a sucker for a good ethereal, foggy, soupy mist. So to me, it's only amping up the beauty. So my post-holing days are almost over. Once we get through this final section of the Burnout, what I earlier called the angel singing section. This is the bottom zone of the Burnout section back to the lower forest. That initial uphill slog that was the cost of doing business section from the trailhead up to this Burnout zone. Once we get out of this little area, I'll be done post-holing. Should be very nice. And it'll just be lower forest with canopy, not much snow, fair amount of ice. Back to our trailhead. I still can't get over this beautiful, like, thick fog. This mist is just blanketing this area. This is beautiful. It's like a soupy fog. Pretty unusual from sunrise to the next couple hours sunset. This entire day will have been non-stop fog in the area. The fog never lifted. It wasn't just a morning burn-off situation. It was just a day of fog in the mountains. So, very beautiful. I love this area. I will say this overcast gives like a different light, makes everything more vibrant and pop. All the green, all this brush, cat's tail, beautiful pine trees are more vibrant in the overcast. I feel like it's better lighting for really appreciating the contrast and the beauty of every blade of grass, every little bush and shrub and tree. So I actually prefer this lighting over the bright blue sunshine, bright blue sky sunshine, because that actually is a little blinding and you kind of miss a lot of the light, a lot of the contrast. As we officially leave the Burnout section of Tilly Jane Trail here in Mount Hood National Forest, we got some ethereal, misty, foggy soup across the way. Very beautiful, sitting a vibe. And we are descending back down to what I had called the lower forest section, the trailhead to the Burnout Zone section. More canopy cover, so there's less snow, which means less post-holing, which is good for a yaks trackster like myself. So I'm looking forward to getting out of the post-holy Burnout section. That was definitely the worst section as far as post-holing goes, but still happy with my foot traction choice overall. For me to be able to do 7.2 miles and 2,100 foot elevation gain with minimal effort, I really don't feel wrecked. I feel actually pretty good. That's the yield. It's amazing what you can find beauty in, like even just a section like this. This isn't a feature of the trail, but I just find this to be absolutely stunningly beautiful. The green of this brushery, of this cat's tail, the ice on the trail, and then the snow. This is really beautiful. Very vibrant pops of white and green. And straight ahead you can see kind of the demarcation line of re-entering the lower forest. Suddenly we're going to have dirt under our feet. That'll be nice for my yaks tracks to clean off some of the mud and snow that is caked on and accumulated from all the hours of hiking. So I definitely wasn't taking a speed mentality when I did this hike. 7.2 miles, 2,100 feet. It's going to end up being like 6 hours. Now, am I saying I was going for a record time? No, I mean, I shooting a video, which slows me down, and I stopped and lingered and really enjoyed each segment. So life's a journey, not a destination. Don't be trying to throw down a good time. Who cares if you did it quickly? The important part is to actually enjoy it. I'm not here to race, I'm here to have fun. So I'd rather do it slow and steady wins the race. I would say victories by using yak tracks. I'm really not wrecked. I mean, 7.2 miles, 2,100 foot elevation gains are pretty legit winter adventuring hike, and I feel totally fine. Like, I don't even really feel tired, to be honest with you. I feel like I could start a hike right now. Like, that was not that arduous, and I chalked that up, so I walked through this muddy section, to the fact that I went slow. So I could honestly say in my hike, I never once got out of breath. I never redlined, as I call it. I never got behind my breath or got that fight or flight or got the cortisol or got, you know, like, oh, this is too hard. I never got any of that. I always went slow. Anytime I got a little tired, I just slowed down and really stayed in front of my breath and never really got tired. Never really felt like I was at full exertion. And a big part of that I chalk up to deploying yak tracks, because yak tracks are basically like summer hiking, just a little bit more resistance from the snow/ice. So I don't know, man. I'm actually less wrecked than I was expecting. I don't feel too bad at all. I feel pretty good. So I've got another hike in me right now. Let's do it again. There's a wheel at the bottom, and if I spin it and hit the wrong thing, I could do the whole hike over again, but I think I'm up for it. As we continue to hike back down the final section of Tilly Jane Trail. Particularly gorgeous little section here. Definitely need foot traction control for this. This is like total sheet of ice. If you were boot packing, you would not be able to physically do this. You'd go flying. But with my yak track summit on, I'm like a puma/panther, gliding across effortlessly like a figure skater in the Olympics. Very simple. Oh, this is so beautiful. I will say this lower forest is looking more beautiful on the way down. This is hitting right. This is really gorgeous. We're in the final mop-up phase of our Tilly Jane Trail adventure. Mount Hood National Forest is so beautiful. I never get tired of hiking through this area. This to me is the quintessential old growth forest. Granted, I'm biased. I'm born and raised in Oregon. So this is my frame of reference of what a old growth forest is. But that said, I've been around other states and seen a lot of forests, and there's just something about the mix, the species mix, the ecological footprint that is Mount Hood National Forest that is pretty darn special. So every time I have the pleasure of hiking through Mount Hood National Forest, I dig it, I enjoy it. It feels magical and special. I really think this Tilly Jane Trail up to the A-frame log cabin shelter, guard station, Cloud Cap Inn, maybe even Cooper's Per Shelter, is one of the most premium hikes in the whole Mount Hood area as far as winter adventuring. I would put this one, which is Tilly Jane Trail, along with Tamanoas Falls, as really the two on the east side, the east quadrant of the Mount Hood National Forest area, Timberline Loop area. They're the two that kind of Wonderland zones, premium hikes. They go deep into the forest, so it gets the proper wilderness feel. It's not just like a little paved area where you're hanging out, you know, in a parking lot. You get the wilderness vibe, which I appreciate. So, say those two. I also think there's a good one from HRM parking lot to Clark Creek Bridge to Newton Creek as your turnaround point. It's a pretty short one, but you get 2 premium creeks, some bridges, and just a kind of a beautiful wonderland zone of the forest. So I'd say those are your 3 best hikes on the east side of Mount Hood National Forest. As far as winter adventuring goes, Tilly Jane to Manoas Falls and Clark and Newton Creek from HRM parking lot. That's the way to do it, my friend, if you're on the east side. I think a lot of people in this area just focus too much, frankly, on the west side, you know, like Trillium and Clear Lake. And I'm not knocking those, they're very pretty, but they're not necessarily the best hikes in the Mount Hood area. Granted, it's a farther drive to go around the east side, but I think the juice is worth the squeeze. It's a much more rewarding, beautiful zone, in my humble opinion. So that is what I would recommend. What are my takeaways? I think yak tracks or microspikes definitely solid decision. I probably wouldn't do snowshoes. I can understand if you do snowshoes, so no shade. But if you do snowshoes, you'll definitely have a higher burn rate of your energy, but you'll have an easier time on the more exposed burnout zone. If you do yak tracks, you'll have a much lower burn rate on your energy, but you will post hole a little bit in the burnout section. So depending on which way you want to cheat on your exertion level or your post holing, I could see an argument for either way. I personally would pick yak tracks, but that's my preference. I would definitely wouldn't do skis under any such circumstances. I think that would be a mistake. Don't be fooled by the fact that it says ski trail. And I think if you're going to bother going up to Tilly Jane A-frame, which is well worth doing, it's a gorgeous A-frame rustic log cabin shelter. I would add cloud cap in. I think that's worth it. Adds 2.2 miles, but only 200 feet elevation gain. So, and then you get to go see Cloud Cap Saddle Campground. You get to see the Mount Hood Wilderness sign. You get to see, most importantly, Cloud Cap Inn. If it's a clear day, you actually can go up to the left of Cloud Cap Inn. There's some money shots of Mount Hood proper at the summit. I didn't do that today because it was such overcast you couldn't see the mountain, so it wasn't worth going up there. But if it was a clear blue sky day, you definitely want to go to the left of Cloud Cap Inn. There's a couple overlooks that are like majestic money shots, and Mount Hood would literally be the view of your entire hike. So definitely want to add that if you're going to go up to Cloud Cap Inn. Didn't get that today myself, but that's okay. I've already gotten it in the summer. So I would add that. I think the 7.2 mile, 2,100 feet elevation gain version is probably the sweet spot of the hike. I could see if this was a blue sky, bluebird day, and you didn't have what I had to deal with today, like the rain and the snow and the fog and the windstorm that knocked me down a few times and all this other stuff. And if you got here like right at sunrise and you had a blue sky day, optimal conditions, I think you could go to Cooper Spur Shelter as your turnaround, which would make it 9.8 mile, 3,000 foot elevation gain. That's a trek. I definitely would do yak tracks, not snowshoes, because that's a little far for snowshoes. But if you get optimal alignment where it's light snow, mostly ice like it is now, and bluebird, blue sky day, then I think Cooper Spur Shelter is within reach from Tilly Jane Sno-Park as a out and back day hike. So I know a lot of people will, and as a different version of that, they'll hike up and stay at Tilly Jane A-frame, $20 per person, minimum of 2 people, $40, or they'll just rent out the Tilly Jane guard station, which I think is $200 for a big group, and you split that amongst a bunch of people. It's actually pretty reasonable. So if you go stay up there, then day two, like day one is just hiking up there and setting up camp, spending the evening. And then day two, if you want to adventure, then you could easily hike up to Cooper Spur because you've already done the lion's share of the elevation gain in the previous evening. So that's a great base camp if you really want to go up and look at Cooper Spur Shelter. I wasn't able to go up to Cooper Spur Shelter today, but I think that was a wise decision based on the conditions. You got to let the trail conditions and the weather conditions dictate your plan. And today, given the extreme kind of stormy conditions, it didn't make sense to try to go up there. So those are my takeaways here at Tilly Jane Sno-Park. So I'm just a few minutes away from the trailhead. That concludes my Tilly Jane hike.